Okay, fine. So before we go to mode to operation, so let's look into uh, variety of programs. Okay. Okay. So this we discussed last class. That is how to calculate the value to be loaded to the timer register given the delay. Okay. So one is given the delay, calculate the value to be loaded to the timer. The other factor is given the initial value, calculate the delay generated by the timer. Okay. If delay is given, calculate the initial count, initial value to be loaded to the timer. If initial value is given, calculate the delay. Okay. So this can be done in two methods. One is the hexadecimal method, the other is the decimal method. Okay. So this we discussed in the last class. Okay. So next is delay generation using what is known as execution cycles. Okay. So, so for to understand this, first we have discussed basics of this. That is machine cycles. Okay. Yes, and okay, let's, okay, fine. So we need to understand what is known as a um, okay. So we need to understand what is known as a machine cycle. Okay. What is one machine cycle? So there are different terminologies used in assembly programming, and generally in microcontroller programming, we can say, which indicates the execution time of an instruction. Okay, so one machine cycle in microcontroller corresponds to execution of instruction. Okay, that is to be more clear. Just a second, somebody is on the line. Are you able to join? Is there any issue? Just a second. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So one machine cycle means time required to execute an instruction. Time required to execute the simplest instruction. Okay. Required to execute simplest. I mean to say the the instruction which takes less number of time to execute. Okay. Okay, that is known as a one machine cycle. What is this one machine cycle is equal to? One machine cycle is equal to 12 clock pulses, 12 clock pulses, whose frequency is 11.0592 megahertz. 11.0592 megahertz. Okay, fine. Yes, of course, this we had discussed, earlier. That is, if the frequency is okay, if the frequency is 11.0592 megahertz, 0592 megahertz. Okay, what is the time period of one machine cycle is time period t is equal to 1 by frequency. 1 by frequency. Okay, so this frequency. Okay, that means this is the rate at which the oscillator circuit is generating the clock pulses. Okay, oscillations rate is 11.0592 megahertz. So this is one time period of this clock pulse. Okay, that is frequency is 11.0592 megahertz. Time period is t 1 by f. Okay, so this period is t. This period is t. This is one clock pulse. This is one clock pulse. Likewise, there are 12 clock pulses. 12 clock pulses whose frequency is 11.0592 megahertz, which is required to execute simple instruction, smallest instruction possible. The simplest instruction possible is known as one machine cycle. Is known as one machine cycle. Okay, so based on the types of instruction, each instruction takes different number of cycles. For example, okay, so let us say move instruction, for example. Okay, move instruction will take one machine cycle. Like for example, division instruction takes I think 4 machine cycles. Division instruction takes 4 machine cycles. Okay, even multiplication instruction also. Multiplication instruction takes 4 machine cycle. Whereas NOP, no operation instruction, takes 1 machine cycle like this. Okay, like this DJNZ, for example. I'm taking few examples. DJNZ takes 2 machine cycles. 2 machine cycles. Okay, 1 machine cycle means 12 clock pulses. Similarly, 4 machine cycles means 48 clock pulses. 48 clock pulses like this. Okay, so that means each instruction takes different number of cycles to execute, depending on its complexity, which is called as, which is identified using what is known as machine cycles. Okay, fine. So let us discuss about that now. Okay, what is known as a machine cycle. Okay, so what is the inference of this? What is the effect of this machine cycles? Okay, for example, let us say we have written this program, no, simple program example. Okay, so each instruction takes a different number of machine cycles, and then the time required to execute this instruction is depends on the machine cycle, depends on the number of machine cycles required to execute the instructions. Okay, like this we have program. Now let us look into the program, and let us understand what is the delay generated by the execution of the program. Okay, so in this example, calculate the frequency of the square wave that is in this program. Square wave generated on pin P1.5. Okay, so what is the idea behind this program is, what we are doing here is, okay, we have a, hold on a second. Yeah, so we have a we have a microcontroller 8051 on pin P1.5. We are generating square wave. Okay, so what are the different methods? Okay, what are the different methods of generating the square wave, guys? One is using the timers. Okay, timer with some initial count, that we understood in the last class. If a delay is given, for example, let's say this delay is 10 microseconds. Okay, how to calculate the initial value to be loaded to the timer to generate this 10 microsecond delay? Divide by 1.085 microseconds. Let us say we get some approximately 10, for example. Okay, little less than 10, anyway. 10 clock pulses, for example. 10 number of clock pulses to be counted to generate 10 microsecond delay. How to calculate the value to be loaded to the timer? It is 65,536 minus 10, which is 65,526. Convert this into hexadecimal number. Load this hexadecimal value into timer. Okay, so that's the method to generate the delay using timers. Other method of generating the delay is write a program assembly code. The execution of this code takes some time. Let us say, for example, execution of this code takes 10 microsecond time. 10 microsecond, for example. Okay. So based on this delay, which is required to execute a program or subroutine, whatever it is. Okay, we can generate the delay, and this delay can be observed by toggling a pin. There is a toggling means setting 0, 1, 1, 0 like this continuously. So this will this will generate a square wave, and thereby we can generate the delay simply by executing the program. Instead of using a timer, we can do this method. We can make use of this method. Okay, but the disadvantage of this method is using this we cannot generate a accurate delay, not possible. Okay, whereas with the timer, last class we saw in one program, I think we generated 5 microsecond delay, I guess. I remember, I think it was approximately 5 microsecond delay. So it is a very accurate, better accuracy using timer possible than the using a program method to generate the delay, Okay, so in this program, what we are doing now is the point in case that we are generating the square wave on P1.5. The program is given. We have to understand what is the delay generated by the program. In other words, what is the frequency of this? Okay, what is the frequency? It is, if this is the time period, let us say this is the time period. Okay, so we are generating, for example, let us say 10 microsecond, for example. Okay, so the on period is 10 microsecond. That is T on is 10 microseconds, and let us say T off. That is the off period is, let us say, for example, 10 microseconds. It's a square wave, 50% duty cycle. On period is equal to off period. Okay, what is the total time period? This total time period T is equal to 20 microseconds. What is the frequency? 1 by 20 microseconds. Very simple. 1 by 20 microseconds. seconds. Okay, so like this we're generating a square wave of some particular frequency using the programming method. Okay, so let us look into that program now. Yeah, so delay calculation, we did not, okay, so in the delay calculation, what we discussed in the last class, we did not consider the override due to instruction in the loop. Okay, guys, what is this, what is the meaning of this override? Okay, override means, just now we have understood, that each instruction execution takes some time. For example, let's say, oh, sorry. Yes, okay, each instruction, oh, I don't know why I'm pressing on this, just a second. Okay, so each instruction execution takes time, some time. Okay, in our delay subroutine, what we had written, using timers. So last class, the program what we had written using timers. Okay, in this case, we are considering the delay generation using only the timer, using only the timers, not using the amount of time required to execute these instructions, that we have not considered. Okay, the reason for that is, why we don't consider general is because the execution time is very small. Execution time is very small compared to the delay generated by the timer. Okay, so that's the one reason. But if we consider that the delay will be more, how it is, so let us observe. Okay, so to get accurate timing, we need to add clock cycles due to this instruction in the loop. Okay, that means in the last class we had written this program. I don't know whether the program is open. Let me check in the compiler. You know, yeah, here it is. Okay, yes, in this case we consider the delay only due to the timers. Okay, that is using the timer, start the timer, stop. This generated approximately it was 5 microsecond, I think. I don't know. I think it was 5 microsecond. Okay, it generated around 5 microsecond delay. Okay, 5 microsecond or 5 millisecond. I think it was 5 milliseconds. It was 5 milli or microsecond is, I'm sorry, okay, I'll take example, for example, 5 milliseconds, for example. Okay, now the thing is, if we in this delay, we have considered only the timer, execution of the timer. If we consider the time required to execute this instruction, okay, that's machine cycles. In terms of machine cycles, then that we get a better delay. We get a better delay calculation. Okay, so we will considering this time delay, considering this time required to execute the instruction, if we can adjust the value to be loaded to the timer, then we can generate a better delay. What I'm trying to say is very simple. Okay, let us say, for example, to generate 5 millisecond delay, the initial value loaded to the timer is, what is the initial value, guys? EE00H. Okay, the initial value loaded to the timer is EE00H to generate approximately 5 millisecond delay. In this case, what we have considered is only the timer. Okay, but the timer program execution takes some time. For example, let us say set to be. Let us say, for example, it takes 1 machine cycle. Complement instruction, let us say it takes 1 machine cycle. Okay, like this, if this is also considered, if this time is also considered, okay, then the delay will be more. Let us say, for example, this takes some around y seconds, for example, y milliseconds, for example. Okay, then what we get is more than 5 millisecond delay. What we are generating using the program is more than 5 millisecond delay. How to equal this to 5 millisecond? Okay, so the question here is how to equal this to 5 milliseconds. 5 milliseconds. Okay, so for that, what we have to do is the initial value should be adjusted in such a way that we calculate less number of cycles, less number of clock pulses, so that this delay due to the program can be nullified. This delay due to the program can be considered in such a way that the number of clock pulses counted can be less, so that we can generate accurate delay of 5 milliseconds. Yes, that's why in the last class, if you remember, we used to get around 5.02 milliseconds. It was more than 5 milliseconds. Okay, why? Because the execution of this program takes some time. That was not considered. If this is considered, then this initial value can be recalculated. Recalculated in the sense, instead of EE00H, we can load, let us say, some, for example, some let us say 0AH, something like this. That means we are calculating less number of cycles. We are calculating less number of cycles. That means this delay will become less. This will, let us say, for example, it becomes 4.9 millisecond delay. So 4.9 millisecond delay plus, let me write here. It is 4.9 millisecond instead of 5 milliseconds plus y milliseconds. Y milliseconds is the time required to execute this program. Then that can be equal to 5 milliseconds. That can be equal to 5 milliseconds. So then we will be able to generate the time delay accurately. So, the bottom line is, to generate the time delay accurately, we have to consider the time required to execute the program. But in most cases, what happens, this delay will be very, very small, and hence we tend to ignore the delay generated by the execution of the program. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So thereby, okay. Here we go. Somewhere here. Okay. Fine. So we have an. This is. Yes, I think I need to erase. Okay. So yes, here we go. Okay. So let us understand this program. So where the time required to execute the program is also included. Okay. So in the machine cycles for all the instructions is given in the appendix. Okay. Yes. Let us look into the program. So let us say, because in this case, the author is considering only this 9.5 example. There is this program. Okay. This program. So this same program is considered for the delay generation using the machine cycles. Okay. Yes. Okay. What's happening in the program? Initial value is loaded to the timer. There is a timer 0. P1.5 is complemented. Initially it is high. It is set to 0. Delay subroutine is called. When the delay subroutine is called, it jumps to delay subroutine. It starts executing the delay subroutine. The first line of the delay subroutine is start the timer. Start the timer. Timer 0. Okay. So when timer is 0 starts, it starts it starts counting the clock pulse. It starts from FF F2H. Okay. Application of first clock pulse, the count becomes FF F3H. Like this, the count increases. When the last clock pulse appears, it is FF FH. Okay. And the application of next clock pulse, the timer is reset to 0000. Okay. And this will force the overflow flag to set to 1. TF0 is set to 1. When TF0 flag is set to 1, just a second. Somebody is on the line. Okay. So when TF0 flag is set to 1, okay, what will happen is, guys, that means this delay is generated. So we are monitoring the TF0 flag. Once this is set to 1, okay, so till it is set to 1, the compiler will is forced to execute the same line. Once it is set to 1, the compiler will come out of this line, and it will stop the timer. It will clear the overflow flag to 0, okay, and return. So this return will force the compiler to go back to the next instruction next to the subroutine call instruction. So this was the subroutine call instruction. So SJMP is the next instruction next to the subroutine call instruction. So compiler continues execution from here. This instruction is short jump here. Where is the subroutine? That ER label. ER label is somewhere here. It continues the execution of the program from here. Okay. That means the compiler is generating the clock pulses continuously. Compiler is generating the microcontroller is generating the clock pulses continuously. Okay. Now, so here the delay is generated using the timer. Okay. Let us understand the delay generation using this machine cycle, that is time required to execute in each instruction. For example, let us, okay, somebody is on the line. Okay. I'll check whether the attendance is working. So, yes. this. Okay, fine. Let us understand in terms of machine cycle this. Okay, move instruction takes two move instruction depending on the source and destination. It may take one machine cycles or two machine cycles. It depends. It depends on what it is dealing with. Okay. In this case, it is dealing with 16-bit timers. Of course, here it is 8-bit. Of course, no doubt. TL0 is 8-bit. TL0 is 8-bit and TH0 is also 8-bit, no doubt. But since it is a timer, the move instruction takes around two machine cycles. Okay. So this instruction, first move instruction takes two machine cycles. Similarly, second one takes two machine cycles. Complement instruction takes one machine cycle. Okay, yes, what do you mean by one machine cycle? As we understood in the beginning, it is around 12 clock pulses of the 12 clock pulses whose frequency is 11.0592 megahertz. 11.0592 megahertz. That we can see. It's not okay. It's not mentioned in the program because it was discussed in the earlier program. That's why the author has not mentioned it again. A call subroutine call instruction takes two machine cycles. Short jump instruction takes two machine cycles. This delays a name of the subroutine. It's a label. Label does not take any space. Label is part of this instruction, first instruction. Okay. Set B instruction takes one machine cycles. Jump if not bit takes one machine cycle to execute. But how many times this again loop is executed? It is executed approximately 14 times. Why it is 14 times? 14 times this. The initial count is FF, F2H. Okay. Application of next clock pulse FF, F3H. Till this point, the TF0 is 0. TF0 is equal to 0. Okay. Till TF0 is set to 1. So when TF0 is set to 1, when the timer overflows. So when the timer overflows from FF, FFH to 0000, timer overflows. When this timer overflows, the compiler will come out of this line. Till then, the same line is executed. Okay. Execution of this instruction once takes one machine cycles. Since it is executed 14 times, that is FF, FF minus FF, F2H, F2H. It is approximately 14. That's why this instruction is executed 14 times. That's why it takes around 14 machine cycles. That's what it is. Okay. So JNB instruction execution. In other words, this again loop execution takes around 14 machine cycles. Okay. Clear instruction execution, one machine cycle. Clear TF0, clear instruction again takes one machine cycles. RET instruction takes two machine cycles. Okay. The question here is, should we buy it, or should we the what you call know the execution time of all the instruction? Not necessarily. It is difficult to keep in mind all the machine cycles of all the instructions. But few common instructions we can understand. Like move instructions, RET instructions. All these are common used instructions. Okay, fine. Okay. Now execution of this this program, this complete program takes around 28 machine cycles. 28 machine cycles. Okay. Fine. Now 28 machine cycles. Okay. This 28. That means once this program is run, the P1.5 initially it is high. It becomes 0. It continues to be 0. When RET instruction is executed, it goes back to short jump here. From there, it goes here. And when this is executed again, complement P1.5, P1.5 becomes high. P1.5 becomes high. Okay. So this repeat. So this is, we have to find out the frequency. For frequency, we need time. Time period is this. This is the time period, T. One execution takes only one execution gives only one off cycle. So twice execution gives another off cycle. So twice execution of the program gives one complete time period, from which we can find out the frequency. Okay, that means For one off cycle, it takes around 28 machine cycles. For another off cycle, the program takes around another 28 machine cycles. So total number of machine cycles is 2 into 28, twice the 28. And time period of one machine cycle is approximately 1.085 microseconds. 0.85 microseconds. 1.085 microseconds. Okay. So when we multiply this, why to 2028? Because the program is run twice into time period of one machine cycle, which is equal to 1.085 microseconds. Okay. This gives approximately 60.76 microseconds. Okay. So if this is the time period, what is the frequency? Frequency is 16.4 kilohertz. 16.4 kilohertz. That's how it is. Okay. So thereby, actual time generated by this program is due to timer. Okay, it's not the time actually, it is a delay. It is the delay generated by the timer. Okay, it is the delay generated by the timer. One is due to the time period, timer. Another is due to machine cycle, time required to execute the instructions. Okay, fine. Let us say, for example, this delay was 5 milliseconds. I remember, it was approximately 5 milliseconds. 5 milliseconds. Timer generates 5 millisecond delay. Plus this is giving, if you take only a one off cycle. Okay, if you take only one off cycle, it is off of this. Okay, that is around 30.3 microseconds. 30.3 microseconds. Divided by 2, it gives around 30.3 microseconds approximately. Okay, so this actual delay generated is 5.303 microseconds. 5.303 microseconds. It is actually supposed to be 5 milliseconds. We calculated this initial count to generate 5 millisecond delay, but the program is generating more than 5 millisecond delay because of the time required to execute the instructions. So to overcome this time, what we have to do is we have to generate lesser time delay using a timer. Instead of 5 milliseconds delay, as we discussed, generate lesser time delay. For example, let us say 4.9 millisecond delay. So plus when this time required due to program execution is added around let us say 30 microseconds, so it will approximate it to 5 millisecond delay. Approximate to 5 millisecond. That's it. Okay. But in let's say for example, we are generating more delay. For example, let us say we are generating 1 second delay. Example, let us say we are generating 1 second delay. If the program generate in terms of microseconds, let us say 100 microseconds, for example. Okay, so this is very less. This is I think 1.01 microseconds. This is 1.01 microseconds. So this can be ignored. So in this, for a larger delay generation, the time taken to execute the program, that delay can be ignored. But smaller delay we cannot ignore. For example, we are generating in terms of microseconds. For example, we are generating in terms of 5 microsecond delay using timer. The program execution takes around, let us say, 2 microsecond delay. For example, 2 microsecond, 3 microsecond delay. This becomes 7 microsecond delay. Okay. So this is not accurate method of generating the delay. So then that means we have to generate lesser delay using the timer. Instead of 5 microsecond delay, generate a 3 microsecond delay. 2 microsecond delay is due to the, let us say, the program execution. Then it will give, it's not 2 microsecond. I'm taking example this, it is close to 30 microsecond delay. I'm taking an example. Okay. So it will be close to 5 microsecond delay. That's all. Okay. So accordingly, how do we know? So the question here is how to know the exact delay generated by the timer. So connect this pin to oscilloscope. Connect this pin to, of course, here in the compiler we use the this in the compiler we use this function that is in the built-in oscillator function, but that will not give a proper. It's difficult to measure time period. It may not be accurate. Okay. So better to connect it to an oscilloscope physically. So there we will get the clock pulse. So from that clock pulse we can measure the exact delay generated by the timer. Okay. So based on this we can adjust this value. Okay, so that we can generate a required amount of delay. Yes, I hope this point is clear. Yeah, so I think okay, fine. So this is using both hexadecimal method. Of this we discussed, right? This we have discussed in little detail. So there is not. Uh, okay, now I think next is large delay calculation. Okay, so I think there is one example for that. I'll show you. I'll show you. Just put it like this. Just a second. Let's discussed to generate more delay, more than that can be generated by the timer. How to uh, write the program for that? Okay, a square wave. Okay, so whenever this frequency is given, then we have to first convert it to, let's say, 50 kilohertz. Okay, so time period is 1 by 50. Um, okay, 1 by 50 kilohertz, it is around 20 milliseconds. So 20 millisecond is the total time period. So this is the total time period is 20 milliseconds. But what we can generate is only the on period of the off period, so then we have to divide this by 2. Okay, so divide by this by 2, that is given here. You can see that here. One of it, high and low portions of the pulses is 10 milliseconds. It's around 10 milliseconds. One time period is 10 millisecond delay. That is either on period or the off period. It's 10 millisecond delay. So for this 10 millisecond delay, we can calculate the value to be loaded to the timer. Okay. So divide 10 millisecond delay by a time period of one machine cycle, 1.085 microseconds. It gives around 9,216 clock pulses. This is the number of clock pulses to be counted to generate approximately 10 millisecond delay. So the value to be loaded to the timer is, in this case, it is a decimal method is used. So the actual value to be loaded to the timer is BC00H. So per byte of the timer is BC, lower byte of the timer is 00. Okay, this is fine. So this kind of program we can do it, no problem. Next is using large delay generation. Okay, let us look into this example. Before we go to this example, let us understand what is large delay generation. Okay, so delay generation, for delay generation, we are using timers. Okay, delay generation now using timers. Okay, what is the maximum delay we can generate? Okay, one is using the different method of delay generation is, one is using the timers, other method is using the subroutines. Subroutines means just now we saw, using the programs we are going to generate the delay, not using the tools. Okay, now using timer. Okay, subroutine means using dgens case, that I'll show you one program that I'll show you. Okay, so using timers, for example, let's confine our discussion to timers. What is the maximum delay we can generate using the timers? In timers, the delay generation depends on the what is known as mode of operation. Depends on mode of operation. Mode 0, mode 1, mode 2, mode 3. Mode 0, 13-bit timer. Mode 0 is let's say 13-bit timer. Mode 1 is 16-bit timer. Mode 2 is 8-bit timer. Mode 3 is split timer. Okay, we'll not discuss this in 8051. This mode of operation is not used. Okay, fine. Okay, just now, what is 13-bit timer? That means out of 16-bit, only 13 bits are used to generate the delay. 16-bit timer mode 1 operation, all the 16 bits are used to generate the delay. 8-bit mode of operation, only 8-bit of a timer is used to generate the delay. Out of these 3 mode of operation, maximum delay is generated using only mode 1 operation, because other modes of operation calculates lesser number of clock pulses. Lesser the number of clock pulses counted, smaller is the delay. That we have understood. Okay, fine. So thereby, what is the maximum delay generated by the mode 1 operation? Okay, So in mode 1 operation, what happens is that in mode 1 operation, maximum delay is possible when both the timer bytes, there is both the lower byte and upper byte of the timer. Let us say, for example, we are using timer 0, for example. The same thing applies to timer 1. Okay. When both byte of a timer, there is a lower byte as well as upper byte of the timer, when they are initially set to 0000 as well as 00. It is not 06, it is 00. Okay. Initially, when it is set to 00h and 00h, it can generate maximum delay. Guess why it is so, guys? Because it starts with 0000. Application of first clock pulse, the count becomes 0001. Like this, it goes. The final count is the final. The count can be FFH. On the application of next clock pulse, the timer resets to 0000. Okay. So this time, if we consider, maximum number of clock pulse it is counting is 65,536. In other mode of operation, the number of clock pulse counted is even lesser, 65,536. Okay. For example, if you go to, if you consider mode 2 operation, it counts only 256 clock pulses. It will count only 256 clock pulses. Okay. Even the 13-bit timer also counts lesser clock pulse, 32,000 clock pulses it counts approximately. Okay. So thereby, the maximum number of clock pulse counting is possible only in case of mode 1 operation. Mode 1 operation. So thereby, for mode 1 operation, okay, considering mode 1 operation, the maximum number of clock pulse it is counting is 65,536 number of clock pulses. Okay. If 65,536 written wrong, guys, I'm sorry, 65,536 clock pulses are counted, then the total delay generated will be 65,536 into time period of one machine cycle, which is equal to what it is, guys? It is equal to 1.085 microseconds for a frequency of 11.0592 megahertz. Okay, assuming this, this frequency, then this will give approximately 71.1 millisecond delay. This will give approximately 71.1 millisecond delay. Okay, that means we are using timer in mode 1 operation with the initial count of 0000. It will generate maximum delay of only 71.1 millisecond delay. That means in terms of waveform, if you observe, it will be something like this. This delay generated by the timer is only approximately 71.1 millisecond delay. Let us say, for example, I want this delay to be in terms of seconds. Then we have to run the timer multiple times. So that we can generate required amount of delay, which is larger than 71.1 millisecond delay, which is the maximum delay generated by timer in mode 1 operation. Yes, okay. So that's the case. Okay, how to achieve this? Let us look into the program. So in this program, the time delay is generated is in terms of seconds, and of course overhead. What is overhead, guys? Overhead means the time required to execute each instruction is not considered. Okay, so ignoring overhead, that is a execution time of the program, and considering only the timer delay. What is the delay generated by the timer? Let us understand this problem. Okay. Okay, fine. Now, just a second. Before that, okay. So this, okay. Yes. So in this case, for highest delay generation case, it's always better to consider timer, any timer, either timer 0 or timer 1 in mode 1 operation. Okay. So in this program, the author has considered timer 1 in mode 1 operation by loading 10H to TMOD register. Okay, fine. Initially, this counter For example, I think this is generating 1 second delay. No. But I wanted to show it for 1 second delay, but this is generating 14-second delay. Okay, okay, fine. Let me check it. This, there is a program to generate 1 second delay. I'll show you that. For a delay condition. Okay, this will discuss when the counter operation is discussed. Just give me a second. I'll have a program to generate larger delay. That is 1 second delay, so that I'll discuss. Okay, this program is delay section 7 generating okay, generating larger delay. Okay, this is a this is again giving 14 seconds delay. It's actually not 14-second delay, but okay, I guess I want to make it 1 second delay. Okay, so 10 millisecond delay. Okay, no problem, guys. Let us write the program. Okay, here it is not there. Another program. No problem. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now let us say, for example, I'll go to this program, but before that, first understand how to write the program. Or what is the basic concepts to generate larger delay. Okay. Yes. Let us say, for example, I need to generate 1 second delay. 1 second delay. Okay. What is 1 second delay, guys? One off period is 1 second delay. No, the one off period itself is 1 second delay. 1 second delay. Okay, so which is definitely higher than 71.1 millisecond delay, which is the maximum delay that can be generated using a timer. Okay, for a 1 second delay, we have to calculate, we have to write the program. The subroutine, whatever we write, something like this. This program we had seen for some, this program. Just now we saw this program. There is it generated some delay. Just a second. Any program for that matter. Okay, for example, this program. Okay, let's say this program execution, one-time execution takes around 30 microsecond delay. 30 microsecond delay with initial count of 0000h. Initial count of 0000h. It can generate approximately 71.1 millisecond delay. Okay, this program execution once generate a delay of 71.1 millisecond delay. Now I need to repeat this program n number of times, so that the total delay generated will be 1 second delay. Total generated delay is 1 second delay, approximately 1 second delay. Okay, that means what is the question here is how many times I need to run this program continuously to generate 1 second delay, because one execution of this program gives around 71.1 millisecond delay. So I need to run a number of times to generate 1 second delay. How to calculate this is very simple. 1 second divided by 71.1 millisecond delay. Okay, this will give number of times the delay program has to be executed. Number of times, this times the delay program has to be executed. Okay, this is approximately 1 second divided by 71.1 millisecond delay is approximately 14. That means we need to run the subroutine 14 times to generate a delay of 1 second. Okay, fine. How to write the program? Okay, so for this, let us write the program like this. I'll modify the given program here to generate 1 second delay. The program here generates higher delay, so let us understand for 1 second delay. So it is applicable for the what you call other delay also. Once you understand the program, you can apply it to larger delay, larger than 1 second delay. Okay, fine. So if it is 1 second delay, let's say for example, if this is it's something like this now. Okay, if this delay is 1 second delay, there is on period or off period is 1 second delay. The other period is also 1 second delay. Total time period is 2 seconds delay. Total time period of the square wave is 2 second delay. 2 seconds, not delay, sorry, it is seconds, 2 seconds. What is the frequency? 1 by 2 seconds. 1 by 2 seconds. Like this. Okay. So that's how we can calculate the frequency. Okay. So let us write the program. So first is we have to select the mode of operation, timer and the mode of operation. Next is we need to repeat the same program 14 number of times to generate 1 second delay, to generate approximately 1 second delay. Okay, this 14 I'll load into some register, that is R0 R1, you can take any register for that matter. Okay, I'll take it here. I'll write the program here. Move R0 comma hash 14. Should it be H or empty? If it is H, 14 hexadecimal is bigger than 14 decimal. 14 decimal. So thereby what we can do is we can keep it as only 14. If you want to represent in decimal method, if you want to represent in the hexadecimal method, you can write it as 0EH, because 14 decimal equivalent in hexadecimal is 0EH. 0EH. Okay, so you can use any method. Okay, so let us use 14. Internally it will convert into 0EH. The compiler will take care of that. That's not the problem. Okay, fine. Now let us write the program. So initial count is what should be the initial count is? Initial count to the timer, it should be 0 0. Then only it can generate a larger delay. 0 0 catch. Okay, so start the timer. Wait till the flag is set to be 1. Now do not complement. So here we do not complement this P1.5, because to generate the delay. Okay, so initially it generates with 0 0, initial count of 0 0, it will generate 71.1 millisecond delay. 71.1 millisecond delay. If you complement the bit here only, it will complement here only. That means this period will be only 71.1 millisecond delay. If you want this to be 1 second delay, we should not complement the bit. We should run the bit continuously. We should keep the bit in the on condition till it generates around till the program is executed for 14 times. 14 times. When it runs for 14 times, it will generate a delay of approximately 1 second delay. It will generate 1 second delay. Okay. So thereby this complement operation will not be performed here. That is, I'll remove this line. Okay, yeah, where this bit should be. Okay, if you see the program, this complement operation should be done after executing the program for 14 times. So it is not shown here, of course. So in that case, okay, so correct. Okay, so in that case, we can I'll write here. After this, correct. After this I'll explain program. I'll explain DJ NZ R0 comma L1. I'll say L1. So this repeat can be this I'm modifying the program, so can be repeat, no problem. This can be repeat. Yes, I'll explain the program. Give me a second. I'll update the program, then I'll explain. So this L1 should come to details somewhere. This is not necessary, because once it is loaded, automatically it will be reset to 0 0 0 0. No problem. Okay. DJNZ L1 should come. L1 should be somewhere here. Okay, fine. Okay. So once this is done, it will be reset to. It will be reset to. It will be complement P1.5. That's why it is. I'll explain now, because complement will complement this bit. Okay. So this will be complemented, and this should repeat. R1. Okay, sorry. L1. This simple X. Just a second. Here TF0 point. Here stop timer. Here short jump repeat is not necessary. Just a second. And I accept this. Okay, details are correct. So this L1 should come somewhere here. It should be go to L1. This should be L1. Okay. Short jump repeat, correct. Short jump repeat. What is repeat? Here is the repeat. This is the repeat. Yeah, here we go. What we have done in the program is what is the point in the program? Let us look into the program. It's 2 minutes. I'll do this and wind up. In the next class we can execute the program and we can see. Okay. So timer 0 mode 1 operation. Timer 0 mode 1 operation. I'm taking a counter with the initial value of 14. With the initial value of 14. Okay. Initial value of the timer is reset to 0000. Start the timer. Application of clock pulse. Count increases. Wait till the flag is set to be 1. Okay. So this count continues like this. When it reaches FF, on the application of next clock pulse, the count becomes 0000. So the overflow flag is set to 1. TF0 will be set to 1. When TF0 is set to 1, till TF0 is set to 1, the compiler will repeat the same line. Once the TF0 is set to 1, it will stop the timer. It will clear the flag. Then after this, it will decrement R0 by 1. Initially R0 is equal to 14. It will decrement R0 by 1. R0 is equal to R0 minus 1. That is 14 minus 1, which is 13. It will compare it to 00. Is it equal to 0? No. Then what it does is, it will go back to L1. Where is L1 guys? It will go back here. Okay. And what does this say? Start the timer. Okay. So the timer again starts. Timer continues. On the application of next clock pulse, the count becomes 0001. Like this it continues. How long it continues? Till R0 becomes 00. Till R0 becomes 00H, the timer will continue to run this program. Once R0 becomes 00, P1.5 is complemented. P1.5 is complemented. Okay. When P1.5 is complemented, that means the timer has run for 14 times. Timer has run for 14 times. One run gives 71.1 millisecond delay. If the timer is run for 14 times, it will generate approximately 1 second delay. It will generate approximately 1 second delay. So to generate continuous clock pulses, where each off period is 1 second delay, short jump repeat. I think you can see that line here. Short jump repeat. This will force the compiler to go back to this line. That is move R0, 14, because once R0 becomes 00, we have to load R0 with 14 again. Okay, we have to load R0 with 14 again, so that the program is run 14 times again to generate another off period. Like this, we can continuously generate the clock pulse. Continuously generate the square pulse, whose off period is approximately 1 second delay. Okay, fine. This program I'll execute in the next class. I'll show you. If you have noted down the program, you can give a try, guys. You can give try and you can check, how much delay you are generating using the timer. Okay, fine. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining. See you soon. Bye. Take care.